So last session just we have learned basics how to start the Java coding.
ला को देखो बोलो फिर शिव को बोलो ला बोलो
Just mute on your side please, all of you. Okay, 1 second, I started recording. Yeah, okay. So method, we know that this is your code. Okay, so yesterday we have discussed why we use class keyword and why main method is required, right? So method, will explore the method concept. So we know as a class field we cannot write the logic. Okay, this is the logic developed by the Java people. This is the inbuilt system is a class, out is a variable, and println is a method. So system is a class which is available in java.lang package. Out is a variable, all the implementation which is available inside this system class, out variable and println method. 1 second, I'll show you that implementation so you can understand this is the one type of the logic. Okay, so in lang package we have a system class. If you will open this, you can get this implementation of that concept. This is the source code. So system is a class, public final class. System is a class and out is a variable. So here we have to see out is a variable. So these are the implementation of system.out.println, and println is a method. I'll show you that println. So this is the implementation developed by the Java people, but we are only using this logic. Okay, if you will write anything, then we will get display. Search this. So you can see this is your println is a method, and println method, we can print anything. Why? Because the println method is a overloaded method. Overloaded method means we have a same method name, but we have a different parameters: boolean type, char, array, double, float, right, long, object, a string. So println is a method. So this is a logic developed by the Java people. So that logic we cannot write at a class level. So we have a concept called method. So if you have any business logic or mathematical logic, then we will create a method. So method is also divided. Okay, so we have a static. Okay, so there are two types of the method. One is your abstract method and one is your concrete method. So abstract method we will discuss in interface or abstract class session. Okay, so now we are going to discuss only concrete method. So concrete method is divided into two types. Okay, it is divided into two types: a static and non-static. Static and non-static. Okay, this static and non-static is also having the void type and non-void type. So what is the meaning of that we will discuss. So we have a complete syntax of the method. So for what is the complete syntax of the method, we have a accessibility modifier. Okay, this is the optional. This is called your non-accessibility modifier, and this is called your return type, method name, and this is your parenthesis, and here you can pass any parameter. So these two are the optional. Okay, we will use according to the requirement, but return type and method name This all are mandatory, and parameter is optional. If you will give the parameter or not give the parameter depend upon the requirement, right? So if you are writing this method, and method always will create as a class level. We cannot create a method inside this method, means you cannot create a method inside this main method, because method is applicable for only class level. You can see now we are getting this example, illegal start of expression, right? So this is the one thing, we cannot create a method inside this method. So this method is called login page. Okay, so okay, so this is your login page. Okay, so this method is called static, okay, a static void type, or you can tell void type. One more thing I want to tell you, if you will not write this void type, actually what is the meaning of void and non-void? Okay, so we have a return type, right? Return type is mandatory. Return type. So this return type, if you will not use void keyword, you can see what happens. Invalid method declaration, return type required. Got it, right? So here showing this is the invalid, because I told you, right, this is the return type is mandatory, but return type is also divided. One is called void type. Void type means we are not returning any data type. We are not returning any data type. Type. Okay. And non-void type means non-void type. Here we are returning the data type. Okay. So what is meaning of not returning data type? I don't have any requirement to return. Then we will use void keyword, because the return type is mandatory. Okay, so now just this is account number. Okay, so here I am returning this. I'm going to take into only, or not, I will write account number, I will write pin number. Okay, so this is your pin number. Here I am returning, so number, it is a number, right, digit. So I have returned here integer type. If you will compile this code, you can see the compiler is showing something missing return statement. So this is called your a return type, void type. Okay, so void means not returning any data type, non-void means returning data type. So here we can return any data type according to the requirement. When you are using any data type, then we have to return the value. Which type value? Integer type. Okay, so you have to return some value here, right? So while returning this, then compiler and JVM will understand you are returning this value. So we have a keyword called return keyword. So by using this return keyword, whatever the data type you have given, you must be returned that. So now if you will compile this code, now I'm not getting any error, right? So this is your static non-void type. Okay, this is your static non-void type. How to access this static member? So we can access this static member, means static method, direct call or by using the class name. Okay. Okay, so now this is called your just calling this and printing this value, login page and print. Okay, so now here what we have learned this. So this is the one type. Okay, I'm coming with, okay, you can access this member by using the class name. So according to the coding standard we will follow, but practice purpose just I call directly, that's it. Got it, right? So by using the class name we can also access, and by using the object we can also access, but it is not recommended to use. Why? Because no need to create an object, it will acquire the memory, right? So no need to create, because we have already memory, right? So no need to create an object, right? So now we have a method call same, not using a static. Here I'm using void type, and I'm also not using public. So this is your non-static method. Just I am going to give home page. Home page, right? So simply this is your home page. Home page. So here what method it is? It is called non-static void type. Got it, right? So this method is called non-static void type. Okay, so we have given this void, but if you will call this method, then what happens? If I call this method, we need to create an object. Non-static method cannot be referenced from a static context, right? So we must create a method. Got it, right? So we must create a method. Okay, now I'm going to access this. So what is, according to the syntax, here public and static I did not use because I don't have a requirement for that, so that is optional. Got it, right? So here I'm going to use this method string, okay, get data. Okay, so here get data, okay, and now we have a return type is a string type, right? So we have to return this value, return data. Okay, you can take any string, right? So how to access this value? By using this. Okay, so now we will compile this code, able to compile, able to execute, right? So this method is called non-static non-void type, right? So this is the types of the method. And this method is called non-parameterized method. We are not passing any parameter. Okay, so what is the parameterized method? Like, okay, so string, okay, void, and user login or registration page. Okay, so now I'm going to pass here parameter string name, string, okay, last name, okay, that is I am going to pass only two, a string, email ID. That are the dummy implementation. Okay, so now this is called your parameterized method. Okay, so now I'm going to print all the things. Okay, so we have a going to print this value, all this, that's it. So you can pass n number of parameters according to the requirement. No need to, there is no restriction. We can pass n number of parameters. There is no restriction, right? So if you will call this parameter, then we have to call this method also, right? So how to access this method? By using this, we will use here reference variable, so name. So this in technical word, this is called parameters. Or you can not tell input. Input is like understanding purpose. This is your input and this is your output. In technical word, this is called parameter, and if you will pass this output value, that is called argument. Okay, mk. Okay, this is your rk and this is your email id. Okay, this is your email. That's it. So if you will compile this code, okay, I have written wrong. Why did this come? Type, I have given static, okay. What error is there? One second. Already error. Invalid method declaration return type. Oh, okay. Sorry. No need to give this. Okay. Okay. Got it right. I've given this return statement also and void also, right? Okay. So now I'm getting all the output. You can see all the output I am getting. This method is called parameterized method. Okay. So this parameter is also optional and we can pass n number of the parameter. And one more thing is there, a return type with value and return type with a statement. Okay, so here return type is also divided, return type with value. Okay, I'll tell you this. So this is called return type with value. Okay, what is meaning of return statement? So we have one statement called return statement. That's it. Okay, so this is called return statement. Okay, this is called return statement. So if I will compile this code, we won't be get any error and anything, right? We are getting this output. So what is the difference between return a statement and return with value? So return a statement means just it is terminating the code here, control here, that's it. So one confusion, not a confusion, we have to understand the concept. With void, a return a statement is allowed or not? Yes, a return a statement is allowed, but return with value is not allowed. Return with value, we will write return type, means return with data type, right? Returning the data type. So this is called your return statement and return with value. So this is the all method. I have given the example of that. Okay, so method, just I have documented all the things whatever I have taught you. Okay, you guys are there, right? Okay, so my screen is shared, right? Oh
Yes.
yeah, okay, got it, right? So this all the things I have documented. Okay, so there it is. Yes, so there are two types of the method. One is called your um, abstract method and one is called your concrete method. So I will come that abstract method, but I will tell you the syntax of that. But in interface and abstract class, I will explore this abstract method. So on class level, only declaration is allowed. Logics are allowed as a method level. Okay, so method definition. So method is a subblock of a class that is used for implementing logic of an object operation. Rules. Logic must be placed only inside a method, not directly at a class level. If we place the logic as a class level, compiler throws the error. So that class level we are allowed to place variable and method declaration statement. The logic statement such a method call validation calculation. So what is the logic? So logic means we are going to do validate, right? So that is called, I have given the example of system.out.println related. The statement must be placed inside this method because these statements are considered as a logic. Method prototype, the head person of the method is called method prototype. So method body logic, right? This bracket it's called method body, and a statement placed inside is called this method logic. So this is called your method prototype. This is called your method prototype, and this is called your method body, and whatever you have written inside this. Method parameter and argument, the variable declaration in a method parenthesis, right, are called method parameter. We can define the method with 0 to n number of parameters. The input value passing to the parameter are called argument, right, and in method. And calling must be pass the argument according to the method parameter orders type. Okay, so what I have given in this example, okay, so same thing I have given you. So what you are passing this parameter, we have to pass the argument accordingly. Okay, if you are not following this, then you will get compile time error. So just I have given one example here, not going to execute this. So this is one example. We are passing this two parameter. So we will pass according to whatever the data type or whatever the variable you are passing. So here integer and float. So we won't get any compile time error. But here I am passing in the different order. First I pass here float type, then int. Okay, so this is, we will get error. So must be follow whatever your parameter you are passing. So same example I have given here. This is also the same example. So method return type. So the data type keyword that is placed before method name is called method return type. So it tells to the compiler and JVM and developer about the type of the value is returned from this method after execution, right? If we don't want to return a value from the method, we must use void keyword as a return type of that method, right? So we all are discussing the example. So void return type means if we don't want to return any value from the method, we must use void return type. Can we place return statement with void? Yes, we can place return statement with void in void method, but we cannot place return statement with value, right? This one and this one. Okay, so now, so same example I have given here. One more thing, this return statement you cannot write before, after this statement. Okay, because control will, code will terminate here. If you will return a statement will write here, then you will get unreachable statement. So this is, compile time error. We cannot write this. So same thing I have mentioned in this example. Okay, that's it. So it is like working like the break statement. Okay, this return statement. Okay, nothing else. So same thing, just I'm not going to just I have explored this same example, whatever the example I have given here, same example. It is working like the break statement. If we will go in the execution flow. So method creation and execution. So we have a The process of creating a method with body is called method definition, and technically this method is called concrete method. So this is the complete syntax of the method: accessibility modifier, return type, or method name, or your parameters. So this is your optional, modifier is mandatory, this is your mandatory, method name, okay, mandatory, right? So parameter is optional, okay, parameter is optional, that's it. So just I have given the example of that above syntax, not doing anything, right? So creation a method body without creating a method without body, okay, right? I told you, okay, I'll just so we have one method is called abstract method. Actually, what is the use of abstract method? So abstract method is when we are creating an abstract method, when you have to provide the declaration. So where you can provide the declaration or some of the operation like and abstract method, we have an interface. Just understand this, what is the interface we will discuss later. Here we are going to focus on the abstract method. Actually, what is the abstract method? So interface, we have a web driver, or okay, just here we have a Amazon, okay. So this is Amazon is an interface. When you are opening the application, right, this application Amazon, you can see here we have many operations. What the operation is there? If you will click on that, okay, so just sign out this, you can see we will get this login page, After login this, once again I'm going to not login, okay. So now we have operation sign in. So sign in is one operation. So if you are the new users, you have to register this, right? Create an Amazon account, right? If you have an existing user, so these are all of the logic they have developed inside while developing this application, Amazon application, right? So after that you will search the product, which product you are searching. So here also we have another operation. So these are the operation while developing the application. So this operation will declare inside this interface. So first, public abstract, we have one operation called registration, new users registration. I'm not writing complete, okay, new users registration, okay. This is the one operation. If you are existing users, right, another operation. What is the another operation? Login. Existing users means we have a login page, right? After that we have another operation, search operation. You are searching, right? Search operation, search operation. So these are the operation, many operations are there, or many logics are there. So what happened, all this operation we will declare inside this interface. So what is the job of abstract class? If you have only operation, okay, now what is the use of this operation? Some of the users already, I have this, right, registered, I registered it, only I need to log in. So according to the requirement we will implement this operation. Got it, right? Some of the users new, okay, new users is there, he knows the like product name, just he will go through that product, they didn't search this, just he will go that product and they will give the order. So all the users having the specific requirement, right? So according to the requirement we will implement this abstract method, okay. where you can implement inside this abstract class or inside this concrete class. Got it, right? So I'm not going to discuss this, because if I will go, I have to discuss all the things. So what is the use of abstract method? Abstract method only having the declaration, there is a no body. Okay, an abstract method we will declare inside this interface or inside this abstract class also. Okay, so if you have an operation and declaration, then we should use abstract method, and according to the requirement we will implement this. So I will give you that complete code in the interface. So this is, I have written creating a method without body. Creating a method without body is called declaring a method. Okay, technically this method is called abstract method. This is the same syntax, but here we are not providing any body. So we have an accessibility modifier and abstract keyword. Okay, this is your abstract keyword and modifier, right? Return type and this. So what is the mandatory here? This, if you will not use this, by default compiler will add. Sorry. Oh, I missed this here, return type. Okay, we have a return type void. Okay, without return type it won't be work, right? So this public and abstract are optional. If you will not use this, by default compiler will add. Okay, so here these two things are optional, and return type is mandatory, and method name is mandatory, and parameter is also optional. We will give the parameter according to the requirement. Just I have given all the example for above sentence. So method calling and method invocation, sending cursor to the method body to execute its logic is called invocation or calling, right? So how to call that method, just I have written here. So method name and parameter, right? So just calling, how to call this method, just I have written. So if you have a parameter, then we have to pass the argument. That's it. Same thing, if you are passing this parameter, we have to pass the argument. Okay, so types of the method. Basically concrete method is also divided into 3 types. So based on the static modifier, we have two types of the method, a static method and non-static method. Based on the return type, we have 2 types of the method, void method and non-void method. And based on the parameter, we have 2 types of the parameter. Okay, 2 types of the method. One is your parameterized and non-parameterized method. All the example I have covered here. Okay, all the example I have covered here. So a static and non-static. So we can call a static method directly from the main method, but we cannot call non-static method directly from the main method. So same example, just I have splitted all the example. Here I told you in the all example, right? So non-static, you have to create an object. Non-static you can call directly, no need to create an object. But non-static, we have to create a object. Same thing I have mentioned here. Okay, all are the same. So here we'll go through this example. Anything new here? Okay, nothing is new, but you can call the method inside this method also, no problem. We cannot create a method inside this method, but we can call the method inside this method. So this is your, okay, so we have this, same thing. I'm not doing anything extra. This is your non-static method, sorry, static method, and non-static method, non-static method. So what I did here, I call this method M1 direct by using the class name, and M3 I called. So M3 I called by using accessing this method, right? So first we'll save this class. I save this class, that's it. Okay, so now calling this method M1. So M1, so what happened, how it will execute this code? Main method, it will come the control in the main method. Now this line of the code will execute. It will find, it will search the M1, where is M1, then control will go inside this M1. Inside this M1 you can see this line will execute, and again I have created one object. So here again I have access M2 method. Then when control will come here M2, then it will search where is M2, then control will search where is M2. So it will go inside this M2 method, then M2 will execute. Like that we can call this method inside this method also. Got it right? M1, M2, M3 is executed. So this is your method concept, and we have a dummy example of system.out.println. So we already discussed what is the system.out.println, right? So just I have given the dummy example. I have already shown you the implementation of this. So that thing just I have mentioned here. So we have our out is a variable and println is a method, system is a class. That's it. So same thing I have discussed here. If someone will ask what is the system, you can discuss this. So we can see that method invocation means calling or reference variable that check the following things. So when you are call the method, then compiler and JVM will search the following things. Whether it is a non-static or a static, it will check first. It will check your variable, return type, and whether it hold object or not. So this thing happening while the calling the method. So void and non-void method. So if the method return type is void, then called void method, or else it is called non-void method. I already given all the example, just I have documented all the things. In non-void method, the return type must be incompatible with return type, right? Sorry, returning value must be, returning the spelling is wrong. Returning value must be whatever you have given, return value, return type, same type you have to return, otherwise you will get errors, right? So we have already seen this example, so but you guys will execute all this. So just I have given, this is your void method, this is your non-void method, and this is your a static non-void method. This is your non-static non-void method. So method declaration is allowed at a class level. So I already told you, if you will create a method inside this method, you will get compile time error. So what is the purpose of return type? So basically return statement is used to terminate a method execution and sending control to back to the method caller, right? So this, it send control back to the calling method without value, right? So this example, calling method without value, this example, this one, okay. I commented this. Okay, just comment this example. So what the meaning of that? Method with a return statement and method with value. Send control back to the method caller with the value, and this is your without value. We have a parameterized and non-parameterized method. If you are not passing any parameter, that is called non-parameterized, and we are passing this parameter, this is called parameterized method. So this thing I have mentioned, and same example, we have a same example I have given here. One example this, and passing this parameter, again you can pass this parameter with return type also, right? So no problem. Okay, so here just I explored that. So this is your method topic I have completed. I will send you this notes and recording session also. Okay, I'll send you the notes and do that same. Okay, just stop it.